All right. Peace and greetings, YouTubers. So Creed 3. Overall, I really enjoyed this film. Now, as a heads up, I am giving spoilers. So if you have not seen the film, please leave and come back. Don't be on here talking about, you ruined the whole thing for me, man. And I literally told y'all I'm going to give spoilers. So don't get mad about me talking about what happened in the plot at this point, because you should have already clicked off if you have not seen the movie. But with that being said, I thought this was a really great watch. And to be honest, I remember after Creed 2, I was like, okay, I think that was a good conclusion to the whole Rocky Creed series. They don't even have to make no more. I feel like the storyline is great. So when they announced that there was going to be a third one, or a third Creed, I said, okay, we'll see how this goes. Because sometimes, you know, a movie can have a really great run as far as the series, and then they don't know when to stop, right? And then some of the later ones are kind of terrible. Kind of like Scary Movie. Remember how Scary Movie was actually really good until you got to about... The third one was kind of sketchy, and then the fourth and fifth one, you're like, all right, cool. But anyway, I thought this was actually really good. And for this to be Michael B. Jordan's directorial debut, he did a really great job. Look, they gave him a budget. The storyline made sense. All the characters were developed. Everything had purpose, which is what I thought was really dope. I think with this film, there's a great balance of storyline and the action as far as the boxing, right? Sometimes movies might have too much of one and not enough of the other. You know, sometimes there's nothing worse than going to a movie that's supposed to be like an action flick and you ready to just be all in the moment, and there's so much storyline and not enough of throwing hands, and then you be pissed off and you leave underwhelmed. Or it's the other way around, and there's all this great action, but the storyline makes no sense. You don't even know who you're supposed to root for. Everybody just getting punched in the back of the face, but it's entertaining to watch, and then you leave and you kind of never want to watch it again. You know what I mean? And so I thought it was a great balance of storyline and the actual boxing scenes. Some might have said that they didn't have enough boxing scenes, but I thought they had more than enough. I think they had about 3 or 4, and I think that the way that they were executed, you know, was so well orchestrated in regards to how even the fighting scenes were choreographed, the sound effects, all of that. Like, man, I was in pain watching the movie. Like, my whole face hurt when I left the theater. I didn't even get hit, but I felt every punch. I'm like, damn, let me stop running my mouth to people, because, man, yeah, and I was thinking, like, you know how they now have the 4D theaters? Those are the ones where, you know, you can put on the shades and everything, but in addition to the screen being in IMAX, like the seats and stuff move, and so when somebody gets hit, the seat hits, and if there's a fire or an explosion, the heat comes and the smoke and the water. I don't know if I'd want to see this movie in 4D, because I just feel like it's going to be a little painful. Every time they would have the shot and somebody getting those body shots on the side, I'm like, oh, like I was in my seat squirming, like, God. Oh, God, because imagine getting hit on the side by Jonathan Majors. Like, what? I'll never run my mouth again. But, you know, I thought it was really well put together. As far as the casting, Michael B. Jordan, even as far as him, you know, being Adonis, I thought he did a really great... I think this is one of his stronger roles that he's played. Like, I'm not even going to lie. There was one scene he was crying. I was about to start crying, too. I was like, wait a minute. What is this? I'm just dealing with a lot internally at the moment. But, like, I was like, whoa, okay. Like, they were taking me there. I was like, okay. And then with Jonathan Majors, I think what was really dope, right, about Damien's character is that Damien's character was developed and was not one-dimensional. One of the critiques I always have about a lot of films sometimes is that the antagonist sometimes can be so one-dimensional that everything they do is predictable. You don't have any empathy for their experience, and you just see them as the bad guy. But I think with this film, they humanize Damien's experience. Like, you get his origin story, you get all of that, right? And so it's hard to not like Damien in this film, because it's kind of like you feel that he's justified in everything that he does based on what happened in the beginning of the film, where he pretty much took the fall for the things that Adonis was doing as a teenager, right? And so, like, I thought that was really dope, because it made me think back. Like, remember in Rocky 4 when it was Ivan? And Ivan, to me, was the most one-dimensional antagonist you've ever seen. He had no emotion, no feel. You know, if he dies, he dies. You know, it was just like, he just, it was like Ivan was living off instinct. Like, he didn't have a personality or nothing. Just must fight, must win fight, must pump muscle, really be strong. I'm just like, okay. So with Damien's character, like I was saying, like, there's layers to his experience. Like, you saw how he was living once he got out of jail. You saw that the idea of fame, the idea of getting accolades, getting the praise and stuff that you wanted for the last 18 years is finally in your hands. And you see how he took it and just ran with it. And so I love that they were able to develop that character and really, you know, pull out his storyline, which I thought was really dope. Because even when it got to the final fighting scene, I mean, I'm still rooting for Adonis, but I was like, listen, if Damien wins at the end of this, I might not even be too mad. I'd be like, all right, okay. And so, yeah, I thought that was really good. I thought they had a great balance of power between Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors as far as them carrying the film, right? So it's really like you watch it and the same amount of energy was put into both characters, where you see the flaws, you see what they're good at, you see where you see where the loopholes are going to be with where they're going to mess up with different things. You also see where they have different advantages, and that's both with their personal experiences and also in the ring. So I thought that was really, really dope. As far as the cast, like I said, the cast I thought again carried the movie very well. Tessa Thompson's character I thought was really great. I would have liked to see a little bit more of where her storyline went, but I also understand it wasn't necessarily her character's movie, so that made sense as well. You know, Felicia Rashad, I ain't gonna lie, that part was sad. Like, man, when she had the stroke, and then there's the part where she's talking to Adonis, but she sees Apollo. Remember the daddy, like she sees Apollo, so she's like literally talking to Apollo and everything. I ain't gonna lie, as somebody who has already lost a parent, that scene had me a little choked. I was like, all right, you start blinking hard. Like, okay, let me sip this Pepsi. Let me try to tune out what's happening here. That part was really, really sad to me. Oh, it broke my heart. All of that, the funeral, all of that, it was killing me. I couldn't stand it. But no, I thought for those moments, that was a really, really touching scene. That's why I was saying, like, they did a great job of just really developing the storyline. Like, this movie was kind of an emotional journey for a lot of folks, because the lady next to me was crying. What else was I going to say? And, you know, you saw the return of Coach. Lil Duke was in there again. He carries his role well. Selena Lavas, or I think I said Leva, I'm sorry. That's the woman that was also in, like, Orange is the New Black. I really liked how she played her character as well. Remember, she was the mother to the first boxer. And again, that boxing scene was a lot, too. Like, when Jonathan Majors, when he had to take off the mouth guard, and he couldn't almost take it off because the tooth was broken inside, I was like, I don't know. I felt like I could feel all the pain in this movie. I was like, I'm really like, that crap looked so painful. I'm like, dang. But I thought she was really great in her role, and even Mila Davis Kent as far as the daughter. I love that the storyline goes into so many different places. You have the element of Adonis being the retired boxer and trying to live the quiet life. You have the story of the wife who had the music career, but she started losing her hearing temporarily. Now they have the daughter who is deaf and hard of hearing, and so they have that incorporated. And then how Michael B. Jordan's character has to go from being macho man to still having compassion and being able to meet his daughter at a different level that she would need him to be in as her father. And even when she got in trouble and, pop the girl at school for ripping up the paper, which I was on her side too. You gonna rip up my paper? Let's go. But all of those different elements I thought really just helped with the storyline. And again, even with Damien's experience and, the idea of losing out on 18 years of life and trying to matriculate back into society. You know what I mean? And you feel like the world has left you, and you almost feel that certain people owe you. So when you go and you see, somebody that you pretty much held it down for in this large mansion living a life, I thought they did a great job of kind of just exposing how people would respond to that and how people feel in those moments. So I really enjoyed the movie. It was definitely a great watch. Now, there are going to be some who feel some kind of way because Sylvester Stallone was not in the movie as far as, Rocky. And they're like, how do you not have the matriarch of the entire series in the film? I hear that argument, but I also think at the same time, based on how this storyline is executed in regards to the origin story of Damien and Adonis in regards to the relationship that they have, I think you can make Creed 3 work without Rocky. Now, I will say I think this is going to be a movie that makes a lot of money, and likely they're going to have a Creed 4. And I'm sure by then the logistics of the behind the scenes of whatever was going on with production companies and that whole Hollywood game, I'm sure Sylvester Stallone will be in the fourth one if there's no bad blood. But as far as the plot line, I'm not going to lie. When when Adonis said he was coming out of retirement to box Damien, why is it that, like, my knees and stuff started hurting right away? Like, all the pain, I just started feeling aches and everything. Like, dang, man. Because, how, like, the way that it was already, portrayed. They talk about all of the health issues that Adonis had by then. He had cracked ribs and ruptured lungs and spleens and broken, fractured finger. All kind of stuff from years and years of boxing. Because, boxing is such a physical sport. You know what I mean? Lots of physical contact. And so it's a lot of wear and tear on the body. So soon as he said he was coming out of retirement, I felt the pain. Like, dang. Man, good luck. Couldn't have been me. I would have enjoyed my retirement. You could have said whatever you wanted to say. I would have been watching from the comfort of my home on TV while you was talking trash about me. Would have just changed the channel. Might have even turned it up. I also liked, even with the training scene where it kind of ends with him, by the Hollywood side. I was like, okay, this kind of reminds me of like paying homage to the stairs in Philly. Okay, that's pretty dope. But I think with the actual boxing scenes, what I just thought was so dope, I thought they were executed really well. Because, all of that is choreographed. There's a lot of work that goes into doing that. And, it just takes one wrong move, you get knocked out. Like, imagine you doing this scene and you miss a cue. And next thing you know, Michael B. Jordan or Jonathan Majors that gave you one to the left side, eye swollen. Like, imagine that. But I thought it was really, really well executed. And then what I thought was dope in the final scene is kind of like when they zone out and it's just the two of them. Kind of like, some people are saying it's kind of like an homage to like what they do in anime, because Michael B. Jordan's a big anime fan. But where it's just the two of them and the crowd, you can no longer see the crowd, you can't hear the music, you only hear the two of them. Even the sounds that they made as they were boxing, like I started to realize, like as I was watching it wasn't even really about the match at that point. It's like the two of them trying to make peace with everything that they've dealt with in regards to what they're mad at, because it's like an internal battle that the two of them are literally having at this point, and it's vengeance, it's rage, it's all kind of things that you want to just hold on to, and so you're watching the two of them just go at it. So all of the grunts and the I was like, man, they going through it in this movie. But I know, like with a lot of athletes too, a lot of times in order to really get in the zone, a lot of people will kind of like space out and just like, zone out of everything. I know, like, especially when I still ran track, was doing hurdles, like you had to just like be here and go for it, because the minute you pay attention to whatever's happening to the people in the other lanes next to you, that's when you stumble and you done missed the thing and didn't clear the hurdle, and now your foot done knocked the hurdle over and you done fell back 2 spots. You know what I mean? That same kind of thing. But one of the things, because I'm kind of in this whole philosophical stage of life right now, I'm just trying to make sense of a lot of stuff over the last few months, and my favorite part of this whole movie, honestly, was from Coach, right? Where Coach says that line about let go of what was and walk into what is. I said, dang, y'all get deep in here. Like, it was get deep. I was about to get teary-eyed when they said that. I was like, dang. Because I really, there's nothing like peace of mind. You know what I mean? I think sometimes as humans, and I don't mean to start preaching, but we hold on to so much sometimes with different things. And so sometimes you can't even bask and enjoy what is, because you've latched onto so much of what was, or things that are still like, you feel chained to almost. And so that part right there, I was like, okay, that was a really dope line. And that's honestly when Michael B. Jordan's character was finally able to kind of overcome over Damien, because Damien was still holding on to everything with the past. You left me hanging, man. I pretty much went to bat for you and you ran. I had to do 18 years and you over here living large and everything. So, Damien he had legit reasons to be outraged. You know what I mean? Like, this is, I'm fighting for just understanding what my purpose is at this point. You have Michael B. Jordan, who pretty much, I don't know, it was very, that was deep for me, at least for me. Maybe y'all didn't see it the same way. That's how I saw it. And I even liked when it was over with, because the movie could have ended after Adonis won. It could have ended right there, and thank you, good night. But they kept it going, and then it shows the scene where the two of them are, in the locker room, right? And that could have gone any kind of way. That could have been the two of them, round 2, what? But no, it was kind of like, all right, we made our peace. And when they kept saying that it wasn't on you to each other, like, now they understand that, okay, yes, we've made many mistakes in our younger years and everything like that, but at this point, the options as far as how we move forward are going to be on us individually, not, blaming the other person with everything. So that was really dope, how there's an element of closure with the two of them. They may not be best friends or anything like that after that, but they have a mutual respect for each other's plight. And I thought that was a perfect way to end the movie, in addition to, the family scene and the dad with the daughter and all that. I was like, okay. To me, I thought this movie went into a lot of different directions. It could have just been about boxing for some, but I think the storyline goes a little bit deeper, and it really digs into just some of the things a lot of folks deal with in regard to like past relationships or connections you have with people and how you see yourself and all that kind of stuff. So it was dope. I thought the movie was a great balance of a little bit of everything. And like I said, the cinematography was really, really good. Like I said, for the millionth time, them boxing scenes, I felt every punch. Like, every time somebody got hit on the side, I got hit on the side. Like, I was like, I'm going to have to take some aspirin after watching this. Like, man, it was really good. I enjoyed it. That was a great, that might be my favorite movie of 2023 so far. So yeah, we'll catch up. Anyway, share your 2 cents. I'm out. Subscribe.